Jad Salfiti report.
Culture journalist Jad Salfiti.
Jad Salfiti.
Jad Salfiti.
Well, I'm joined now by Jad Salfiti.
Jad Salfiti from our social media desk. I imagine all sorts of reactions online. What have you been seeing?
Well, all the first editions of Friday's newspapers are beginning to circulate on social media, and it's important to notice that these could all change throughout the course of a night. 90% of Africa's cultural heritage is held outside of Africa.
Projects like Acting for a Cause show that creativity can thrive in a time of uncertainty. And maybe some of those innovations will inspire the way we tell stories in the future. Windowflix isn't just bringing cinema to people, it's also providing solace to local communities at a time of crisis. The screenings have already won over audiences and fans like revered German filmmaker Wim Wenders.
This film has been in production since 2010, and Sacha Baron Cohen was originally slated to take the lead role. It creates a trauma to a society. Culture is left to process what happens afterwards, and that's what he's hoping to do. Could you just talk to us about the role that South Korea will play in this?
Well, it's not quite clear whether South Korea will be at the talks or not. Obviously, South Korea has been instrumental in getting us to this stage.
This is a conversation that is rehashed in America after every mass shooting, but this time it was in part led by late-night US talk show hosts, and actually the most emotional reaction we saw was from Jimmy Kimmel. He's actually a Las Vegas native. Let's take a look at that. Well, very different reasons. Music and politics have always gone hand in hand. About #MeToo and the Time's Up movement, sexual violence, but this time it's not only focused on women in the West, but it's an intersectional conversation that's around the world. Discrimination based on gender, discrimination based on sexual orientation. She spoke about systematic racism in America. It has a very diverse casting. You have the very famous African-American ballerina, Misty Copeland.
Stories about Asian LGBT people will especially resonate with the growing exiled gay Chinese community and beyond, many of whom have found a new home here in the German capital.
With the Black Lives Matter protests ongoing, discussions around diversity in Hollywood are more amplified than ever.
To articulate their experiences, and that festival is happening today and tomorrow at the British Film Institute in London. Our Earth is suffering because we're eating meat, and we should be moving towards alternative sources of protein like insects. One man's yum is another man's yuck, and that's the premise behind this educational pop-up. A Parisian art collective called Obvious, that's 3 guys in a flat in Paris. One of them a PhD student. In the exhibition, you're going to find things like bull penis, Sicilian maggot-infested cheese. You're going to find things like rotten Icelandic shark. Slightly clickbaity and a bit misleading. It's not created by a robot, as you might imagine. It's just using artificial intelligence to kind of aid the creation process to generate it. This is the exact kind of film that Disney should be making in 2018. I don't think anyone needs to be worried, any of our artist friends. He might genuinely want to open a dialogue with the president, but it might also just be, and this is knowing Kanye West, another publicity stunt. I mean, are we really surprised? I mean, it's Hollywood. Not speaking out would put her more in the firing line than remaining silent. And what he wants to do with his art, and not to spoon-feed his audience's opinions, but allow them to interpret things as they choose. So what you might end up with tomorrow morning is something entirely different.
They put together multiple editions, don't they? Because they don't really know what the final result is going to be.
Exactly. With a rapidly changing response to the pandemic, how and if they will continue to operate is an open question.
Jad Salfiti there with Talking Culture. Thanks very much indeed.
Jad, thank you so much for joining us.
Jad Salfiti, thanks for the social media update.
You're watching DW News from Berlin. More coming at the top of the hour. And don't forget, you can get all of the latest news and information around the clock on our website. That's dw.com. Thanks for joining DW.